So my research project attempts to define how differing platforms of voters across party platforms can influence voter decision, both within a candidate's own platform, but also outside a party's their candidate's platform. So what I did was mostly boiled down to this survey that I did at Mountain Gateway and also at my own high school and a little bit around Botetourt as well, that asked voters a series of mock elections that contrasted the differing political platforms of different candidates. So for example, a Democrat candidate that primarily promoted economic ideas versus a Republican candidate that primarily platformed social ideas. Economic ideas would be like inflation, the job market, how to best handle the current state of the American economy, and social ideas would be your stuff like abortion, immigration, LGBTQ plus rights, stuff along that lines. And what I found was, though in a majority of cases people voted along their party lines, there were certain instances where the economic candidate would take precedent over a social candidate and will be able to gain bipartisan support, such as in Election 4, which contrasted a Democrat economic candidate and a Republican social candidate. And what I found was that the Democrat economic candidate was actually able to gain a lot of support from the moderate right, as well as the moderate left that did not initially vote for them in a previous election.
Now, Silas, I mean, in recent years, hasn't a social issue become really dominant with Democratic recent victories of abortion versus anything else, including economic issues?
Oh, yes, of course. This is actually one thing I did not consider in my initial hypothesis, but what I found in this study was that abortion actually outranked pretty much every issue that I surveyed them on in Part 3, which asked voters to rank a bunch of different issues on how they impacted their overall voting choice. And though economic issues on a whole were greater impact than social issues on a whole, one issue was far above the rest, and that was the issue of abortion. Regardless of a candidate's position on abortion, abortion seemed to be the most impactful. Though this could be because of some biases within the study, because of primarily surveying younger demographics of voters. This is kind of an issue, a trend we've seen overall since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, that abortion has become an increasingly, I guess, dominant issue in deciding which candidate a voter will vote for.
And is this age-related or merely party-related?
I think it is honestly across demographics. It's more of an age-related thing. You see now more and more, regardless of political party, that young voters tend to support abortion. But honestly, on a whole, I think abortion has been more supported, even among different Republican candidates. So I think going into this 2024 election cycle, it would be interesting to see how abortion plays a key role in deciding this 2024 presidential election.
And if you were advising, and if, as a matter of fact, maybe you will be, if you were advising the political candidates now for president, exactly what would you tell them? This is not necessarily age-related. It's not necessarily the sex of the voter. It's overall. Is it a dominant issue, or is it just maybe temporarily dominant?
I would say it is a very dominant issue, maybe temporarily dominant, but I think since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it has become increasingly dominant, and I don't really foresee that changing unless some sort of drastic legislation would happen. So I think advising our political candidates for 2024, I would recommend that I think that they should, at least for the Republican platform, probably back down on a lot of their strong stance against abortion, but also for the Democrat candidates, though they have a strong support of abortion, that is not really the only thing that matters going into this election cycle. It is also the economic issues that they need to platform and prioritize equally with that abortion platform.
Well, President Trump doesn't seem to be taking your advice, even though he hasn't heard it, because his recent statement was essentially exactly what the Supreme Court said. Hey, leave it up to the states. Now, is there anything in your research that says this is a good idea or bad idea with respect to the voting population?
I think it's a very interesting question. I honestly do think that that statement that Trump made could be kind of considered backpedaling on his previous ideas, because previously he supported like outright bans for abortion in a lot of cases, but now by saying it's just up to the states to decide, I think he's trying to gain a lot of support from those who support abortion and those who are more indifferent to it.